Hey guys, how long's it been? Good God, let me see, between end of the semester, I don't know if I had COVID or not, but I got sick, and then it's just been kind of crazy. Glad to be back though. I haven't checked on you to see if you have any questions or anything, because it's just been a little bit nuts. But anyways, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to review. Because one thing I'm finding is with the clipper cutting, I can see where, a client comes in and says, use this number, use that number. They're not even stylists. It's how we use it and what we know. And many times, like I'll just ask my clients, I said, do you mind if I just freehand it? Most of them, I'd say 99.99% say, no, go ahead, I can freehand it. And they're fine with their haircuts. You do enough hair cutting, you know the lengths that are left. But before I get started with this review and stuff, I just have something I need to share. It's a real concern for me. I know that, and again, I don't mean this as a negative for you that are not licensed, that are watching me, and I'm not going to discourage that, because it's going to happen. And but for those of you that are licensed, that I'm trying to work with you and stuff and make it a little better. I mean, YouTube is YouTube. Everybody's going to get on it no matter what. I mean, a mechanic wants to learn how to fix a car, they watch a YouTube. I mean, my husband is a YouTube king. He does a lot of things on YouTube. So it's there for a reason. But the one concern, I went to this is Arizona, and we had, I forget what it was called, but it was with our state board. And it was, the schools were invited, everybody was invited. They had an excellent, absolutely excellent public speaker there. Talked about what we need to be doing to create this business, to make it better. She actually, at one time, I think she said 9 or 11 schools. That's a lot of schools. And the way I look at it, I've owned salons before, that's a lot of staff infection. I mean, it's work. It's a lot of work to get people to stay focused on what you think is best. Not necessarily what you know, but what is best to make success. Well, this is what the meeting was about. It was just basically like a forum, and State Board talked, and this is not just in Arizona, you guys. This is throughout the United States, from what I'm understanding. And it was just a forum. A lot of schools were there, a lot of more administrative than educators. I really wish there had been a lot more educators, because this lady got down to the down and dirty about teaching and what we need to do in our industry to be successful. There's so much money to be made in this business if you know what to do next. And you've heard me say that phrase before. If you know how to handle it, charge for stuff, sell retail, for God's sake. That's their prescription. That's what makes their hair better. But what they were talking about, I'm going to get down to the business of it, because of the budget cuts, as far as them bringing in a company to do the testing, everything's still going to be online. And pretty much they named the Milady book, and I forget what other book, but we really need to get on it. We really need to get better. Looking at a picture, which some of them it's a little bit tricky, but they're not going to change it. If you guys are frustrated and waiting for, the people to come in and do the testing, where we take our mannequins and do all that work and stuff, well, that's not going to happen. The budget cuts are not allowing it. They cannot afford to pay it. Here's the scary part. At this point in Arizona, there is a bill to eliminate our state board. They have no idea. Congress has no idea the area of sanitation that's involved in our industry. They have no idea. I mean, do you realize that on one tiny little metal pinhead, 1,500 bacteria rest on top of that? And there's, your hands, there's so much bacteria in your hands that it can't be counted. It's too numerous to count. But even if you sanitize, as soon as you touch something, as soon as you even touch your own face, that bacteria comes right back. That's the bacilli bacteria. all right? It forms its own spore, it protects itself. All of this stuff we learn, plus, you know, we learn so much about the bloodstream. You know, wear a mask. If you have a cold, for God's sake, wear a mask. If your client has a cold, let them wear a mask. I've shared with you guys, one of my clients, she had a dental school. The client, she just happened to go help a student, and the client was sick. Well, that sickness went to her heart, and she needed a heart transplant. It was a virus. So these things are real in our industry, and some of you that are doing hair in your kitchen, find another place in your home, for God's sake. Don't let that stuff be ingested into your kids, your husbands, your own body. Find another place. These are just real things that are happening right now. And it's a concern for me because, I mean, I've been licensed. Normally when people ask me, how long have you been licensed? I'll say, well, how old is your mother? Well, because that's how long I've been licensed, a long time. I'm not going to say it. A little bit pride there, but I'm not going to say it. But I want you guys to know that this is important. So what I want to do, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be right. All right. I mean, I saw a student one time trying so hard to make that next part of the head form exactly equal to the last one. They spent 2 hours on a 90-degree cut, and this was a student that had been a student for a while. Absolutely no reason for that. It just has to do it right, but it doesn't have to be perfect, because what happens, I mean, on a mannequin, it's just, they've got the way it's going to lay down. On a client, they have a growth pattern. Some of them have certain waves. And if you make it so perfect all over, it may not lay right. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why when you cut, you comb, you cut, you comb. So what I want to do today, let's get down to business. Now I kind of gave you my concerns. I hope you guys get involved, understand who your state board is. Call them and ask them what you can do to be more supportive. I'm going to share one more thing with you guys. This was for instructors and school owners and so on. And you know, I'm an instructor, so I was able to go to this meeting. Well, the thing that was very sad to me, there was only, I mean, we have a whole lot of educators here in the state, but it was a forum done by a state board, and maybe they don't like state board. I don't know. I feel like I have to sneeze a little bit. I'm sorry. But anyways, oh, by the way, on your lip, bacteria is too numerous to count. Under your eye, bacteria is too numerous to count. So when you do this and then shake somebody's hand, yeah, I'm just sharing. So anyways, what makes it difficult is we went, you know, morning meeting and stuff, and state board did their talking, and the speaker spoke a little bit, and then we went out back to lunch. This was what broke my heart. There was a little over 60 people there. 24 people came back to listen to and it was an excellent, excellent class. And one of the best I've been to in a long time. Our Arizona State Board is working diligently to have more of these forums. I encourage you, go. Even as a stylist, go back to your school and ask them if they can take you along to these meetings. Get involved. Your state board meets once a month. Go. Get involved with your state board, because the only way we're going to keep our industry alive is by you getting involved. It's real easy not to. It's real easy to say, well, you know, it's not working out for me. The schools need to get better at teaching. And this educator was excellent. She was excellent to bring down the truth. But anyways, I don't know if I can give any names or anything, but if you want to get a hold of Arizona State Board of Cosmetology, they can tell you who she is and so on. But she was very, very good. But anyway, so what I want to do today, I want to review. Because as I do this cut, as I work on this mannequin, I'm only going to give you the areas that I'm at and the degrees that I'm holding. What am I doing here? All right? So it's going to end up being a fade haircut. And there's certain things that you're going to be looking for, but there's certain things that you have to practice. Just like when before my students even get started cutting, I have them hold the shear. And I can't tell you how many students I still see holding the shear like this. This is incorrect. you will definitely have carpal tunnel if you do that. They have to be held. Now I'll be honest, I can't do it, but you know, you're not supposed to move these fingers. Everything comes to the cutting edge. I still cut in this form, been doing it a long time. So far no carpal tunnel, but then of course I stand straight, I wear the right shoes, and do other things correctly. Like for example, the blow dryer, that is too much. Use your whole arm. All right, practice these things. These are things that I teach my students, not to mess them up, but to make them better. But the parietal line, how do you find it on a mannequin? The mannequin's got hair. See, this doesn't. I can write it on this, and then we know exactly where it's at, right? Pretty much, because there's nothing there covering it up. But the mannequin, like a human head, has hair all over. So if you take a comb, put it at the apex, the highest part of the head, take it to the flat part of the head. See that? See where that meets right there? That line comes down. That is the parietal line all the way around. That's what that is. That's the parietal line. They call it the crest. They call it the crest because it curves. Well, the crest itself has an upper ridge and a lower ridge. The lower ridge, if you put the comb at the temporal area where the comb leaves the head, right there where I'm putting my finger, that's the lower ridge. Take it to the apex, take it from the parietal line, place your finger there where the comb leaves the head. That's the upper ridge line, just slightly below the apex. All right? Now we know that. If you know where that's at, you can easily do a high fade because you know where you're at, you know where you're going. You're not going to be standing in front of the mirror and going, okay, let me see, that's right there. Okay, now let me come over here, because both sides are pretty much the same. The only variable you're going to have here is the cowlicks. That's the tragus, I'm sorry, the vertex. And I didn't write that down. So anyways, just know, and I'll put it down for you right now. That line right there, where the cowlicks are, is called the vertex, V-E-R-T-E-X. That's what it's called. If you know exactly where that vertex is at, if you know exactly where that upper ridge is at, and it's just slightly below the apex, come straight down, and the area behind the ear. Why is this important? Why is this line here? I mean, that's inside the nape. That's important because of cowlicks. Again, people are going to come in and want something, whether it's very short or very long. On a bob haircut, that can definitely be a problem because sometimes one side will grow up and in, the other side will go down and out. And therefore, then they think, oh, well, she got the cut, you know, she got it wrong. It's not right. It's off. No, it's their growth pattern. And that's where you need to make the client aware. But guys that want it squared off, okay, that's going to be a problem. Because on one side, you can square it off perfectly. Now, some of you that have been cutting guys' hair, hey, oh, that's why. Yes, that's why. Because of those cowlicks back there. We just call it behind the ear because that's where it rests. But if you know where the vertex is at, if you know where the upper ridge is at, and come up into the frontal fringe, and then straight down the occipital, which is most part of the hair, come down that center area, and come back behind the ear, you can do a perfect mohawk without, again, what? Looking. Because you know where you're at, you know where you're going. I've talked about this before. The tragus, of course, is that little nodule on your ear. That's how you measure the sideburn. Again, you're not going back and forth. And some people say, well, sometimes one ear is higher than the other. Well, honey, if it's that obvious, they have a problem. All right? It's usually very minor. But, you know, take a look at it. But the ear itself has several points of measure when you're cutting hair to that area. Use those points of measure. Don't just guess. Use the body for that. So this is the vertical crest. People don't recognize that, but it fits right into that area behind the ear. And if you touch your head right in this area, the vertical crest, it's just like this crest. It's a turnaround. All right? This is a turn down too, but still it's a turnaround. It's a crest. You have two of them. Vertical crest. When the hair is longer on one side, if you've done a bob or the 0 degree haircut, don't cut the front. Come back to the vertical crest, bring it straight down, and you're going to find that you're going to find a corner. Just follow it through and it'll come out perfect on both sides. Do that, of course, on the longer side. This takes practice. This takes looking at it. This takes holding your shear properly. I noticed many times, and I had a real problem at the school that I was teaching at before, because they didn't want the students to have the client stand up because they felt that made the client uncomfortable. You know what? The client doesn't care. The client wants a good haircut. The client will stand up and stand on their head if they have to. And you know how we do the 180, but we don't make them walk on their hands to see if it's straight. Anyways, so these are just facts about cutting hair. So the point of origin on a protractor, 0 degree. Now this protractor is resting horizontally, but a protractor can rest diagonally or vertically. And when I teach hair cutting, I always have the students practice taking the shear up and down. All right? This is what happens here. When you're down, it's going to slightly angle. Therefore, there's your why if they're sitting and you're bent over. But if you have them stand up, you can see it. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. I learned that in the school that I was teaching at. I'd never seen it before. When you close your mind to learning, that's exactly what you've done. So make more work for yourself. But anyways, that's what you do. Have them stand up. They want a good haircut. They want it straight. There's certain factors about it. So the other thing I want to do, on the clipper, when you're practicing, you can either hold it in this form or you can hold it in this form. But notice the elbow. All right? Either way, learn to carve, because the carving is what's creating that fade. The carving is taking it away. If you look at it, the head is round. So when you're at the flat part, following around to the occipital, traveling around the occipital, that's that center occipital. You're going to be carving out once you get to the lower ridge. Once you get to the lower ridge, you're going to come out. Now, here's another thing you can do. If you go straight up past the lower ridge, it's going to fade it by itself. And I'm going to show you that today on how you can do that. But the first thing you want to do, if you want to learn clipper cutting, I'm going to use this one first, and then I'm going to go to my other one. First, you want to use a clipper comb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the flat part of the head first. Now, this is what I want you to take note of. The elevation is going to be from parietal line to tip of the ear. You can't see that when you've got a bunch of hair, but if you know where you're at, if you get used to looking at it, you can do it. Parietal line, tip of the ear. Okay, cameraman, can you see this all right? All right, so you want to make sure. So I'm going to take it, and I'm not going to make it simple. I was thinking about clipping this out of the way off the parietal line and getting it. Well, maybe I will. I should make it simple for you guys, I guess. It just gets to be a little bit of work. So I'm just going to pull this back. There's the parietal line. Pull that out of the way. Now you can see it. So parietal line, tip of the ear, diagonal. Parietal line. Where's the ear? Right there. Parietal line, tip of the ear. The elevation is coming to that. Going to be held straight out. Carving. See the carve? Carving. That's why. That's where you're at with that. So understanding the concept is just as important as doing it. All right, so I'm just going to turn this one on. Parietal line, tip of the ear, and I'm not going to take it close to the head. I'm going to come out because I want you to practice. So you're going to take it out. You can either go up or you could go down. Notice that the comb is diagonal. Parietal line, tip of the ear, but what? It's flat. This one doesn't cut as good as my my Oster, so I may just go ahead and pick up the Oster since I have it plugged in. I love these. They cut through anything without a hassle. Parietal line, tip of the ear hasn't changed, but look at that, takes it right off. Alright? Now, do you notice this little tang right here? So now we're going to follow that same line. This is what is fascinating to me all the time though. Hang on, let me get rid of this call. I don't know who it is. I think it's just a spam call. Oh, it's my manager from the salon, but I'll just give her a call back. I'm not going to worry about it right now. She can leave me a message. Alright, so this is what's fascinating to me. You saw I held it, parietal line, tip of the ear, but look at the way it falls. Why? Because the head is round. Even though we call this the flat part of the head, it's coming off of that upper crest. So when it lands down, the angle of the upper crest comes right down with it. That's totally fascinates me. Okay, the other area of fascination, why do we have this long piece right here? Well, this long piece, we elevated it up, that's the sideburn. Alright, there's your why. It's right there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, this was parietal line, tip of the ear. I'm going to go down about a ½ inch, but notice the angle that I'm holding the comb. Now it's at a slight angle. It is no longer flat, it's at a slight angle towards me, not away from me. Where is it going to be shorter when I hold it in this form? Is it going to be shorter here or underneath? You can answer that. Look at it. Look at it on your own mannequin. Alright? So I'm going to come up. We're not going to there's my guide. Underneath. Again. Still there? That's still there. So came up, a little bit lower. Now we're going to get rid of that. Because now look at the comb. You see what the carving is. That's what carving is right there. Flat. Come in here. Flat, flat angle. See that angle? That came in that form, this form. Now it's in this form. Same angle to the comb though. So understanding the two concepts. You have a cutting line and you have an elevation line and then an angle line to the comb. Now I'm going to come back here to the nape line. And there's the ear. This is the nape line. You're going to see that curve down. Again, I'm going to come, this is my guide. I'm glad I've got this highlighted so you can kind of see it. Get in there. There's my guide. Diagonal. I'm coming down into it. Not horizontal. But strangely enough, you see how it's almost straight. What is this right here? This area at the nape. We're going to then take it down just a bit. And then now we're going to the bottom. See the comb? Carving, carving, carving. Clean up that little angle there. And that's because of this, by the way. That's the why. Alright, I'm going to take it to the other side. And this is what's fascinating. Remember, we were holding it in this form. Don't be confused on the other side. I'll stand over here. I'm going to move the mannequin over. Don't be confused on the other side. Here's the parietal line. After a while, you just know it, all right? You just know where that center is at from the parietal line. Remember this side? We did this. See, did this? I'm sorry. Yeah, parietal line, tip of the ear. See the angle of the comb? If I take this comb and do it the same way, we're going to get it. But the main thing is, what people tend to do, they're standing here, holding it in this form, and they see it. So they tend to want to come back and hold it in the same form, but many times they end up doing this instead of this. I'm going going to do it again for you. Up, hold it the same way. You see how that's back and forward. Parietal line at the frontal fringe to the tip of the ear. That's not going to the tip of the ear. It's going from the back to the front. We got to do it from the front to the back. All right, it's not an uncommon mistake. I see it all the time. So be aware of it. That's why you've got to know where you're at to know where you're going. So parietal line, tip of the ear. I'm just going to take that off. And it's mid. A little more. See the comb? A little more. Did you see the comb turn? See the comb turn? And right here it's at midpoint, not there, midpoint. Turn. All right? I took it a little bit shorter, so now I'm going to go to the back and follow the nape line. It'll take it right to the center nape. And I'm following my guide right to the center nape. I'm going to bring this, turn it around for you to see it. Right to the center nape. What am I creating? Do you see where this could be easily a full hop? If you stay there and if you know where that nape line is at, instead of guessing, you know where it's at. It's right there. That's the lower nape. All right? So now, say again?
Your cord's getting tangled up.
Oh, my cord's getting tangled up. My cameraman's trying to save me here. Okay, now I'm going to take this corner out. And I'm going to bring it up to that nape, just slightly below the occipital line. I told you, that's what I'm going to use. I'm using the term because, okay, this is where I would have the client, I guess I have to unhook her a little bit, unhook him a little bit. This is where we have, oh, it's the other one, sorry. The client put their head down. Oops, not too far. Okay, so like that, we can see what we've got. And again, I'm going to take it to this area. This is the nape line. How do you find your nape line? You guys remember? Put your finger there. Let it come back. Don't guide it. Don't guide it. It'll end up right at your knowledge bone. That's the very center of the nape line, just below the occipital. Now I could tell you, take it here, bring it there, and we would all have an absolutely, see I'm taking it a little closer, by the way, I'm sorry. We would all have a slightly different here and there. Now, because I know how to hold the comb, where my carving is, my carving was right there. So I'm at the top of the nape line right now. Okay, I want to get this little hair out of there. All right, so now we've got it. And we're going to cross over the nape. Cross over. And do you see that nape line right there, the corner? Get rid of that corner. Come into the center where we had that, where we built that up. And take it off. But you can really see it. Okay, let me bring him back up again.
You need to do a stop start.
Oh, we're going to have to do a stop start, so he's going to do it right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see that even though I'm cockeyed, we're pretty even. I mean, we're a little off, aren't we? Yeah, it's because I'm teaching this class. Otherwise, I would be moving way over. So I want you to be aware of that. So let me clean that up so that we're even on both sides, because we're pretty close, but not no cigar, right? So I'm going to come here, and it's just that area right there, just driving me nuts. Still get into the nape line. Okay, and all those little lines from the color, you can definitely see it. That's why, like again, that's why I chose this mannequin. Again, now we're even. See what I mean? But you have to stand in front of what you're cutting, and it makes it hard when I'm trying to teach the class. All right, here's another thing that I want you guys to practice doing. In using your comb, I'm going to stay above the parietal line, but very seldom do I pick up the hair and do this. Very seldom. A lot of my, pretty much 90% of my haircuts are scissor over comb. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take it and do a 180. I'm going to part it off at the parietal line because the other is not going to be short enough, right? I'm going to do a 180. I'm going to do it front to back for volume. Front to back, not side to side. Even when I'm holding it and I do it front to back, I hold it in this form, front to back, in other words, to the vertex. So we're going to just take it up, in other words, where's the vertex? Cowlicks. On a person, that's where the cowlicks are. That's why these little kids, that hair just pops up, because we're not tracking where those cowlicks are. And sometimes you have to tell the client, you know, that's going to stick up. All right, so I'm going to bring this up and front to back. Now I'm going to travel, get my guide. There it is. And I'm going to pull this up to blend. See the guide? I'm not going to cut it unless you can see it. See the guide right there? Okay, there it is. So it's scissor over comb. It's not different. Now when I get to the back, beyond the vertex, because I want this to come down. I told you guys on the 180, if you want it to cup under, you want to do it front to back. So when we're at the back, because this curves under, if you keep doing it front to back here, then you've done it actually what would be side to side at the top, because of this rounded area. So you would come and then definitely do a horizontal subsection. So I'm going to pull it up. Right. And don't cut, do not clip or cut hair with wet hair. You're going to dull your blade immediately. And then you're going to wonder, why are my blades not working anymore? Okay, let me take that. You bring this over. Got it. All right. Did I do it? Yep. See that? You just got to find your guide. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be right. All right. So this, I would say, take off, as you practice this, take off an inch at a time. Go back in, do it again. You know, just an inch at a time. And then come back down, just an inch at a time. Practice that. I'm not going to do it right now because of time factor. And of course you don't want me to go over and over and over again. So we know that it's tip of the ear, parietal line. Make sure that it's the frontal parietal line, not the one going back towards the crown or that vertical crest. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my comb, because like I said, very seldom do I use a guard. And the client comes in and says, give me a number 3. Well, you know what, a number 3 is just a little less than the length of your finger. And number 4 is about the width of your finger. So you know that. Once you know that, I mean, if they come in and they want number 8, well, you're going to be holding it out. So that, you know, then they want 2 inches. All right, look at your guard. Now, hold your comb. I'm going to take it, follow the nape line, and as I travel up, I'm traveling up into that center occipital, only tip of the ear. I'm not going any higher. But look at that lightener line. Now I'm going to come back in, go to the bottom, look at the direction of the comb. I'm at the lower nape, so I'm actually cutting at 90 degrees from where it grows until I travel up into the occipital. Then I give it a slight angle because I'm traveling up on the head form. Now, do the same thing here, but yet start in the same direction. All right, look at the angle of the comb. I mean, can you see it? I hope you can see it. All right, a little bit less, and then flat. So we're starting to take it off. That's the sideburn. I'm going to do the other side. You can see it. Make line only. Make line, traveling down, traveling down. Take it to the nape line. And you can see that V coming out again. Take it to that tip of the ear, parietal line. I find a lot of these haircuts, and you can see them out there, they take it horizontally in this area. When you take it horizontally, what it does is it makes the hair stick out a little bit more. Shorter moves longer. So if you go from the parietal line to tip of the ear, this is going to be slightly shorter than the hair behind it, so shorter moves longer. You could even see it on the mannequin. It combs it back. All right? If I would have done it, and I'll do it for you, straight across, and I see this all the time, it doesn't go back. You see how that just popped back forward? So tip of the ear, I'm going to take this pretty short, so parietal line, take it up a little higher, and now it's in. So you see how just that little bit, that diagonal into that. So if it teaches you anything else, go diagonally here, and it'll save you so much time. All right, I'm going to do the other side. Let me pick this up right here, take it off. And again, I'm doing it front to back. Why? So I want that. What that's going to do is automatically give you volume. All right, I'm going to come here. Now we're going to fade. My clipper's getting hot. So now we're going to fade. I'm going to fade up into that. Always brace. It drives me crazy when I see this. Please, if the client sneezes, if they get a hiccup, and you're doing this, that's going to be an oops. All right? Brace. And at least you can feel them when they move. They're by you bracing, they're more likely to sit real still. So now I'm going to take this. This is, let me see, I think this is a 1. All right. So again, I'm going to carve. I want you to see it. Carve into it, and I'm coming out. Do you see that? Now, in order to clean that up even more, look at the angle of the comb. I should have used a white comb for this. I have a white comb. I don't know where it's at right now. But you'd be able to see it a lot better. Again, it's diagonal. And we're going to be doing a high fade by the time we're done. Nape, carve out, and then when you get to the ear, wherever the blade is touching the hair, that's what it's cutting. So if you have a full blade on it, you're going to cut too high. So all I'm doing right now is half blade. And then now I'm going to take it, turn the comb a little bit, come up just a bit. I'm about center occipital now, taking it up there. Let's do this side. This is here, parietal line. Come up into it, angle, take this off. See, the point is, again, if you know where you're at, exactly, you know where you're going. Come up. The angle of the comb is how you're cutting it. The angle of the comb says shorter here, longer there. Shorter here, longer there. All right? So I'm going to take this, bring it around. I wish I could move his ear, but I can't. All right. Nape. See what it happens when I have the comb on there? Now without the comb, carve out. Doing the same thing, because what he said, I want it really, I don't want to see skin, but I want it real close. So when you have those high fades, or the faux hawks, you see how easily, you can see how easily that comes in. That's already into a faux hawk. Oops, break. Now I want to get rid of this heavy line. Slight angle. My angle is in this form, all right? So, because I'm coming across above the neckline, the head inverts in a bit there. So how you hold your comb is a big factor. And again, I'm coming through all along the neckline. Parietal line, tip of the ear, center occipital, goes right through the crest, past that crest line. But with all that color, so do you see? I mean, that's already there. If you wanted to do just a fade, you could just come up into it. Now I am going to take it up to the lower ridge. So remember I told you earlier, if you just go straight up, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go straight up, and you'll see it automatically fade. And I'm going to just go down the center so you can see it. I'm just going to go straight up. I'm just going to go straight up. I'm not traveling around the head. I'm not going like this. Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. And you can see, I'll do it here for you to see it. Straight up. You see that fading in. All by itself, it fades right in. I'm going to do it on the side. Just to the lower ridge, where the comb leaves the head. Period. Period. See it? And this area here, I just got to clean that up underneath. Alright, now I'm going to take the comb, where the comb leaves the head. Automatically fades it. Automatically fades it in there. So you can still see the color. Now you can see it from the back. Straight up. See the blade? The blade lets go by itself. So you just go straight up. This I'm just going to clean up. Now one side of the head grows forward. On a normal person, one side of the head grows back. Now I'm going to clean that up. See the comb. The comb is resting in this form. Alright? So when I hold it, I'm holding it at the lower ridge so that we get a complete, uniform, even fade, because I know where the lower ridge is at. I'm not going any higher than that. And then what I'm doing is I'm blending now. See the comb? Where the comb leaves the head. And then you just do a cleanup. This is a nice fade. And this is the number one, but look at this. See how the comb, see that blade leaves the head? That does the work for you. Right at the lower ridge. Alright, now I want to show you something else. I want to show you how to do some scissor over comb. So often what we want to do is pick it up. Pick it up and do this. Cameraman, do I have my water bottle over there somewhere? Yeah, that's perfect. That'll work. I don't care. Okay, so again, and all I'm using now is just a clipper comb. But I want to control this, and you notice I didn't wet any of it until I was done. And you do. This is where your comb comes in so much to help you through it. Alright, I'm just about finished with this cut, but seriously, you guys, do stay in contact with your state board. Be friends with your state board. Totally serious. We're only next to the medical field as far as what we learn, as far as what we do on sanitation, safety, all of that. Don't be foolish about this. Okay, so I'm going to take it to the center apex. I'm going to over-direct it from that parietal line, and anything that falls off, so I'm going to hold it like this so you can see it. See, this is not going to reach to that center apex. But whatever reaches to the center apex, I've determined the length I want, cut it straight across. Now this is what I'm talking about. Do you see how that stays up, creates the volume that you need? And I will do a little bit on the other side, side to side, for you to see what I'm talking about. Okay, this side, see the volume there. Okay, this time I'm going to pick it up right here, side to side, get my guide off the other side, because I'm going to take it shorter still. Boom, goes down. Doesn't stay up as nice. Come on, stay up. All right, now I'm going to take it front to back, a little shorter, and stays up. Doesn't fall back down again. So, and then again, like I said, if a client comes in and she's got long hair, do it front to back, because it's going to then cup around. Now, I'm leaving the bang a little bit because I want to show you something. This trend pretty much has gone out, but sometimes they still want it. All right, so I'm going to bring this across. You see how it's all just standing right up now. Now I've got this frontal fringe, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to pie shape it. And like this, we eliminate the Dora bang, and this is where we decide, what do you want here? I'm just going to cut it vertically. And what that does is he could either bring it over to either side, because shorter moves longer. And then of course you might need to use your texture shear. I'm going to bring the back now beyond the vertex, beyond the cowlicks. I want to go horizontal because I want that to stand up. If I would have gone vertical like I did, this would be vertical. Once it goes past the vertex, it's going vertical. And I want to show you. Just lays down. Doesn't stand up. So be aware of that. That's the geometry of hair cutting, by the way. See that staying up? Stayed up right there. All right. So another thing that I want to show you is many times, like, they want this little corner here. So take the hair to the other side, bring it to a point, cut it vertically, and they still have the corner. It comes over. Now I want to show you what to do with your texture shear. The comb to the texture shear. Some of you have already seen this. All right, I have a corner right here. I want that softened up a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Softens up, and I want it to move over in this direction. Go over there. I want you over there. All right, let's take a little bit more. Now look at the angle of the comb. I want length. I'm just softening that area up so that it's laying, as you can see, just a little bit better. A little bit better. If you have any questions on this, please note them. And honestly, you guys, tell me what you think about your state board, where you're at. And I want these to stand up, by the way, a little more. That's why I'm going front to back on the texturizing. You see that? Now, I want you to notice this, where it's laying down just a bit. And that's just slightly, here's the upper ridge. Parietal line is right at the center. I'm going to elevate it up to the parietal line. 1, 2, 3. And it smooths it. Lays it just a little better. And all that, like I said, it made it a little bit more difficult because you can see it now with the highlights in it. And turn them around here. We can see just this little bit of a hard line there. Now again, this is up and it's a slight angle. So I'm going to take it up almost to the apex, just slightly over direct it. Apex slightly to the upper ridge. All right. Want that to stand up. And this is where your texture shear, by the way, really helps you with that. It will help you get it to stand up, to go in the direction you want it to go. See this hair falling forward here? I'm going to bring this up. And look at, all of this is just scissor over comb. And it goes back. Learn how to do scissor over comb. You don't have to pick it up, cut it, change the comb, all that stuff. Use your comb. Your comb will do it for you. So I hope this turned out okay, because I'm teaching it, you know, but being that I'm teaching it, I want to get rid of those little loose ends right there. Okay, a little more here. And this is called polishing the cut. I see some lines and stuff, just clean them up, but best to do it with a texture shear. If you're going to do it with a shear, you almost have to point cut in certain areas. But you can see the cut. And do you see what I'm saying? Where the comb leaves the head automatically does it for you. So if you want to clip this up and then just come up and fade that in already, go ahead. Now the other was down at the nape, right? The low fade. You saw that coming in. Could we do that? Yes. Maybe I should have done that for you too before I took it all the way up. But that's how they get that kind of skin fade. They come out. They don't go up and then out. They carve. That's what carving is all about. So I hope you got this. And darn it, it's towards the end of the video. I don't know how many of you stuck around. Do me a favor. Buy my book, would you? I have another one coming out. Some of you might be interested in it, some of it not. But it's all in the very, very last chapter of this book. Very last chapter on color. And goes into a lot more detail, but this is the one for hairstylists. This is the one that tells you what happens in a salon, our life as stylists. So whatever questions you have, please put them in. Any comments, positive or negative, I don't care. I mean, you know, been doing this a long time, so I hope you got something. If I can help you grow, if I can help you stay in the industry like I have, it's an amazing business. I can't tell you the variety of people you meet, the variety of people you talk to. So God bless you guys, good luck, and we'll see you again.